The message from my sister Brittany came through bold and smug. Let's be real. Jenna can't afford the resort anyway. I blinked once, then twice. There it was, out in the open. Every emotion I thought I'd outgrown. Humiliation, heat rushing to my face, that ache in my ribs from years of being talked over at family dinners, came flooding back in full surround sound. The family reunion group chat had been quiet for weeks. Until now. Brittany again. No offense, just didn't want you to feel pressured. No offense, my ass. I set my phone down like it might burn through the marble check-in desk. Talia glanced up from behind the concierge monitor. She was sipping her iced espresso, brows raised. You okay? I tapped the screen once and turned it to her. She read it. Her eyes narrowed. Oh, hell no. Another ping. Uncle Craig Sloan. Reunions for contributors, not freeloaders. My assistant Talia muttered. Did he really just say that? I didn't respond. My pulse was roaring, too loud to think. See, here's the thing. They thought they were being subtle. They thought they were being clever. The family reunion had been booked months ago at a luxury mountain resort in Asheville. Everyone was buzzing about how exclusive it was, and they'd all just assumed I wasn't invited. Too quiet, too plain, too unremarkable. What none of them knew, not Brittany, not Uncle Craig, not the cousin who posted a passive-aggressive Instagram story about elevating our circle, was this. I owned the damn resort. Not just managed it. Not just booked a block of rooms. I owned the deed, the land, the building, the spa. Even the rosemary growing outside the lobby was mine. 6 months ago, I bought the hotel through a holding company under an entirely different brand name. That was by design. My name wasn't on the signs, the emails, or the guest directory. Until now. I picked my phone back up, no reply in the chat. Just a thumbs up emoji. Then I closed the app, screenshotted everything, and forwarded the thread to Talia with one subject line. Time to rebrand. She stared at me for a moment, then grinned. You want to go full petty? Full legacy, I corrected, my voice calm. Let's remind them who built the house. We spent the next 4 hours switching out every branded item in the system. Emails, signage, booking portal, back to its original name. Callaway House. My house. I walked into my office, pulled down the temporary winter signage, and unboxed the original gold-accented script logo. Talia replaced the door decals. I emailed the staff with one note. Effective immediately, we returned to the Callaway brand. It wasn't just a name. It was mine. And I had every intention of making them say it out loud. Last time, my cousin Brittany mocked me in a group chat, unaware the resort she booked was already mine. I stared at my screen, fingers hovering over the keyboard. My phone buzzed again. Brittany, just checking in heart. Hope there's no hard feelings. I hit reply and sent a simple thumbs up emoji. No punctuation, no elaboration. Just enough to be seen, not enough to be understood. A beat later, she followed up. Brittany, seriously though, don't stress it. I just didn't want you to feel like you had to pretend to keep up with everyone. No offense. Pleading face 2 hearts. The condescension in that message could choke a cat. I forwarded it to Talia, who was now in my office cross-checking our fall event calendar. She glanced at it and let out a dry laugh. She really thinks you're gonna take the high road? Oh, I'm taking the road, I said, sipping my matcha. It just happens to run straight through their reservations. Right on cue, Uncle Craig chimed in. Uncle Craig, family reunion is for people who've invested in the Sloan legacy. Let's not water it down. I let out a breath through my nose, slow and even. Years of therapy will do that for you. Craig was the kind of man who talked in golf metaphors and stock tips. To him, legacy meant cash flow and last names. Mine had always been a bit too local, a bit too humble. They never knew the real reason I never showed off. They'd only seen the silent version of me, the one who abused tables at 16, the one who took night classes while rebuilding a foreclosure into the most booked boutique stay in the state. They didn't know that Callaway House had made more in profit last quarter than Craig's investment condos had grossed in a year, and they were about to find out. Talia turned to me, eyes sharp. We switching the signage out front? By Monday. Menus, room tags, spa brochures, all of it. They want luxury? We'll give it to them. A soft knock on my office door. Carly, one of our front desk stars, poked her head in. Hi, just letting you know, The new linen sets came in early. Also, someone from Sloan Holdings called about special VIP accommodations for the upcoming week. Said they were part of a large family booking? Talia raised an eyebrow. I met Carly's gaze calmly. Forward the request to me, I said, and update their reservation profile to pending owner confirmation. Once Carly left, I glanced at Talia. Did they really book under Sloan Holdings? Yep, she said, already pulling it up on her tablet. Blocked off 5 deluxe suites, Friday through Sunday. Booked 3 months ago under a shell address. Guess they figured the discount code from a management friend would sneak them through. Too bad I know all the passwords, I murmured. She handed me the tablet. I stared at their reservation block, the names, the smug little special requests note from Brittany. Prefer rooms facing the garden if possible. Keep away from road noise. Our family is used to high-end experiences. I smiled, slow and unbothered. Talia? Yeah? Cancel the entire block and lock it. You want to make them panic? No, I said, standing. I want to make them humble. She grinned and cracked her knuckles. Consider it done. Outside, the trees were beginning to bronze. Fall in Asheville was golden and sharp, like crisp air and unresolved tension. I stepped into the courtyard, boots crunching against old flagstone, and watched 2 guests check in with our concierge. The smell of cider drifted from the cafe. Wind moved through the rosemary bush at the entrance. This place was mine, not because I inherited it, not because anyone handed it to me, because I rebuilt it from ruin, because I knew its every creak and shingle. And now, the people who laughed at me for never measuring up, they were about to find out they'd been measuring against the wrong standard entirely. Last time, I canceled the Sloan family's hotel reservations, booked under my ownership, without their knowledge. Brittany sent me a Venmo request at 7:03 a.m. sharp. $1,400. Your half of the shared Airbnb for reunion weekend smile. I sat at the cafe bar in the Callaway House lobby, stirring lavender syrup into my espresso. The audacity of it made me laugh out loud. Just once, sharp and quick enough that Talia glanced up from her laptop. I hit decline without a second thought. A second later, a text came in. Brittany, fine, I'll cover it. Just don't embarrass us, okay? Embarrass them? I tapped the screen, took a screenshot, and added it to my little digital folder of receipts. One day, I'd frame them. Guess who tried to bill me for my own property, I muttered. Talia cackled. Girl, do you want the refund email to come from operations? Or do we want to be dramatic and send it from your inbox? Let's keep it polite, I said, for now. We pulled up the Sloan Holdings reservation. 5 rooms, 3 spa appointments, 2 private yoga sessions, and, of course, a catered family-style mountain harvest dinner for 12. I skimmed through the notes. Under no circumstances should guests be made aware of room rate discounts. Classic. With one click, Talia canceled every single booking. Another click, and the room block disappeared system-wide. Then came the fun part. Locking the dates. For the next 2 weeks, Callaway House would show limited availability to the public, a setting we used for buyouts and renovations. Effectively, no one else could book a stay even if they wanted to. It was my house, my hill, and I had just planted my flag. 15 minutes later, the first alert pinged. Reservation cancellation. Notice to brittany.sloan@email.com. Subject: suite booking canceled by ownership override. No explanation. Just cold system language and a refund note. Talia leaned back in her chair, stretching. You think she's going to scream or call first? She won't call, I said. She'll post. Sure enough, within the hour, my cousin Haley had dropped a cryptic message in the Facebook group. So sad Jenna won't be with us next weekend. She said she felt awkward being the only one without a real job. Pleading face. The backhanded slap hit my chest like a slap from childhood. Old familiar shame rose up, then vanished. I turned my phone toward Talia. Should we say something? She squinted at it, then shook her head. Not yet. Let them dig their own PR grave. An email came in. This one from Brittany. 4 paragraphs. Bolded lines. This is unacceptable. Lack of professionalism. Do you know who my uncle is? I sipped my espresso, forwarded it to legal, and deleted it. Then I opened my private notes app. and added one more entry to my plan. Friday, 3 p.m. Sloan party arrival. Prepare lobby. Make it memorable. Later that night, I stood alone in the event kitchen. The windows were open, and the early October air swept through like a hush. I looked over the unused catering list, the fall harvest menu they'd requested. Roasted squash, duck confit, artisan bread, all custom, all canceled. I scratched it out with a pen and wrote 3 words beside it in all caps. Not your table. Behind me, the industrial fridge hummed like a calm warning. No more passive nods. No more shrinking myself to fit their expectations. Let them arrive. Let them rage. I had a reservation waiting for them all right. But it wasn't the kind they'd booked. Last time, I canceled their bookings and watched as they scrambled to control the narrative online. By Wednesday, the lies were rolling in thick. Aunt Lena posted a photo of her suitcase with the caption, "Counting down to family time, 2 hearts. Wish all of us could be there, but some folks bowed out. No hard feelings." The passive aggression was so thick you could spread it on toast. Then came the kicker. My cousin Dina dropped a sweet message in the reunion Facebook group, clearly aimed at me. It's hard when someone feels like they don't fit in. We should have done more to make Jenna feel included. She said it was just awkward being around people with careers. The comments rolled in like clockwork. Jenna's always been quiet. Some people just can't handle family energy. Still love her though, 2 hearts #complicated. I stared at my phone, jaw tight. Not one word was true. I'd never said anything like that. But what hurt more than the lies was how easy it was for them to believe them. To paint me as the shy, jealous cousin lurking in the background. The broke one. The bitter one. People believe whatever makes them feel better about ignoring you, Talia said, flipping her laptop closed. Want me to handle it? I shook my head. No, I've got a better idea. I opened the Callaway House admin portal, went to the Sloan Holdings booking profile, and added a custom note. Reservation terminated due to ownership override. Refunds processed. Rebooking not permitted. Then, I attached a PDF with Callaway House's new booking policy, effective immediately. No corporate rates, no event discounts. All reservations subject to approval by executive review. Talia laughed out loud. You really wrote your own velvet rope. I nodded once. If they're going to call me a gatekeeper, I might as well hand them the closed gate. The next email arrived 30 minutes later. Subject, urgent RE, reunion booking from Brittany Sloan 2, info@callawayhouse.com. Hi, I'm not sure what's going on, but our reservation seems to have disappeared. We were never contacted about any cancellations, and we have a large family event planned. Please confirm this was a mistake and reinstate our booking immediately. She still didn't know it was me, so I had Talia respond, formally and cleanly. Dear Ms. Sloan, thank you for reaching out. All reservations under Sloan Holdings have been canceled by internal directive and are no longer active. Refunds have been issued. Please be advised that Callaway House operates under private ownership and reservations cannot be reactivated once terminated under override status. Warm regards, Callaway House Events team. The internal directive line made Talia giggle for 10 full seconds. She's gonna implode. I hope she doesn't, I replied. Voice cool. I hope she shows up smiling. But inside, my jaw ached. I'd been clenching it for days. At night, I chewed the inside of my cheek until I tasted metal. Rage tasted like pennies and old resentment. On Thursday, they FaceTimed me from a pumpkin patch. All of them. Brittany waving in her knit headband. Aunt Lena in a flannel poncho. Uncle Craig holding a hayride ticket like a man who'd never known humility. Wish you were here, someone shouted. Next time marry rich. Aunt Lena cackled. I forced a smile and waved. The call ended. My hand fell to my side. My nails had pressed so hard into my palm, they left little crescents. Cancel their catered dinner, I said to Talia. Already done, she replied. Chef's pissed. They were picky as hell. I nodded. Walked into my office. Shut the door. I stared out the window at the twilight trees, golden and unbothered. Then I pulled up the front desk system and scanned every name on the Sloan reservation block, one by one. Each name, each check-in note. Arrival time, Friday, 3 p.m., good, let them come. Last time, they mocked me over FaceTime, and I canceled their final catered event without blinking. Friday morning hit like a drumroll. I was already at my desk by 7 a.m., sipping black tea, the fog outside folding low over the Blue Ridge peaks. The entire inn had a hum to it, like it knew something was coming. Talia walked in, wearing all black and a matte red lip, like she was dressing for a funeral. "Security briefed," she said, tossing a folder onto my desk. "Staff's ready. Lobby candles lit. Rosemary focaccias in the oven. We're fully stocked and fully petty." I cracked a smile. "Did you prep the welcome message?" "Printed, framed, and posted right behind the front desk. Full cursive logo. Your name's the first thing they'll see." I leaned back in my chair and closed my eyes for a breath. This wasn't just about today. Not really. It was about 14 years ago. I was 14 when Grandma died. We were all crammed into the funeral home, plastic roses on the altar, and tepid coffee in styrofoam cups. I remember Brittany pulling me into the hallway, her lip gloss perfect even then. She whispered, voice syrupy but sharp, "We're the Sloanes, Jenna. You're just Calloway trash." Don't forget that. I didn't cry. I didn't tell anyone. I just nodded and locked it away. And every year since, I've remembered that moment like a match strike. Every time I got a backhanded compliment. Every time Uncle Craig said things like, "Some of us work with real capital." Every time Brittany asked if I was still doing that little hotel thing. I didn't respond then. But today was the answer. By noon, the staff was running like clockwork. Candles flickering low. Instrumental jazz playing softly through the hidden ceiling speakers. The Calloway House signature scent, a mix of rosemary, cedar, and orange blossom, drifted through the air. I checked the lobby one final time. My name glowed behind the front desk in elegant gold script, Calloway House, founded by Jenna Calloway, 2020. Talia leaned against the desk and whispered, "You ready for your villain origin moment?" "No," I said, smoothing my blazer. "I'm ready for justice." The parking notification pinged at 2:59. Game time. Talia grinned, then vanished toward the service hallway. I stayed where I was. In full view, let them walk into my house, let them look me in the eye. The glass door swung open, and there they were. Brittany walked in first, heels clacking against the tile, face glowing with smug assurance. Uncle Craig followed, grumbling into his phone. Behind them, Cousin Haley, Aunt Lena, and a swirl of Sloane cousins I hadn't seen since Grandma's wake. Brittany stopped short. The lobby was beautiful. Golden light pouring in. Jazz playing. The smell of bread and citrus in the air. And right behind me, my name. Her eyes scanned the room, then landed on me. For a full 2 seconds, she didn't recognize me. Then she blinked. Her mouth parted. "Wait, Jenna?" I smiled, calm and clean. "Welcome to Calloway House." Uncle Craig stopped mid-sentence and looked up. "Where's the manager?" "You're looking at her," I replied, folding my hands. "Actually." "Correction. You're looking at the owner." Cousin Marcy whispered something that sounded like, "Holy sh..." Brittany turned gray. "You own this?" she managed. Talia appeared from behind the desk, cool as ever. "May I help you check in?" "We have reservations under Sloane Holdings," Craig said, puffing up. 5 suites, private dinner, spa. "All canceled," Talia said smoothly. "Per owner override. Refunds were processed days ago." Craig turned red. "This is outrageous. I'll call the board. I'll have your license pulled." "You won't," I said calmly. "Because I own the license, the land, and every set of keys in this building." Brittany opened her mouth, then closed it. Behind me, a fresh tray of focaccia emerged from the kitchen. Rosemary and sea salt filled the air. It was warm, welcoming, and not for them. Talia nodded at security. 2 polite, uniformed staff stepped forward. "Please gather your luggage. We've made arrangements for you to wait outside." "Jenna," Aunt Lena said, stepping forward. "Sweetheart, surely this is all just..." "No, Lena," I said. "It's exactly what it looks like." Outside, gravel crunched under drag suitcases. Inside, peace. And for the first time in years, I finally felt it in my chest. Last time, I revealed I owned the hotel and watched my entire family get escorted out in stunned silence. That night, after the last of the Sloane luggage disappeared down the gravel path, I stayed behind in the lobby. The candles burned low. The jazz had faded into silence. I sat alone on the velvet settee near the fireplace, the heat ticking in the vents. I could still see Brittany's face, that brittle smile cracking into disbelief, Craig's indignation curling into a full red flush, the cousins whispering. The silence. God, the silence was delicious. Talia brought me a mug of cider and sat beside me, her legs tucked up. You did it. I stared into the steam. Did I? Oh, 100%. You dragged them without lifting a finger. I let the moment sit, the warmth on my hands, the soft clink of a candle holder shifting slightly in the breeze from the vent. Then it came back to me, her voice. Brittany, 14 years old, lip gloss, funeral black boots, hair in a perfect braid. You're just Callaway trash. Back then, I didn't say a word. I walked out to the parking lot, sat in the back of our old Civic, and promised myself that I'd build something so unshakably mine that no one could call me that again. And I did. Quietly, brick by brick, room by room. Talia nudged me gently. What are you thinking? I used to think silence was survival, I said. Now I think it's power. You didn't just survive, she said, leaning back. You outgrew them. I stared at the hotel logo, my name behind the desk in gold cursive. It still didn't feel real. They had spent years erasing me in little ways. Jokes about money, dismissive looks when I said I was managing an inn, never once asking if I liked what I did. It wasn't just exclusion. It was erasure. Polite, practiced, precise. But now they'd remember me. They'd remember the girl they iced out, the one they thought didn't belong, the girl who made their luxury reunion venue vanish with one click. Talia pulled out her phone. The family group chat's still active, but it's very quiet. I raised an eyebrow. Really? She handed me her phone. The last message was from Brittany. Let's pause reunion plans for now. Venue miscommunication. Below it, a single emoji reply. Eyes, I snorted. Miscommunication? They communicated just fine. You just rewrote the ending. I stood, suddenly restless. Come on. Where? To the porch. I need air. We walked through the arched hallway and stepped outside. The mountain air was crisp, sweet with wood smoke and pine. The stars were out in full, the kind of clear sky you only get when you've left everything toxic behind. I leaned on the rail, pulled my sleeves down against the chill. Talia stood beside me in silence. And I remembered. I remembered every skipped invitation. Every time I was told not to stress the budget. Every time they said, maybe next time, when I offered to host. They thought I wasn't good enough to stand beside them, so I made sure they'd never be able to stand above me again. Talia pulled out her phone, flicked through her emails, and raised an eyebrow. You want to hear something funny? Always. Uncle Craig just submitted a refund dispute. I laughed. Loud, deep, real. What's the reason? She grinned. He wrote, was not informed venue belonged to hostile relative. I wheezed. Hostile. Oh yeah. You're apparently the new villain origin story. I looked up at the stars, the bitter wind washing over my face, and I smiled. Let them call me whatever they want. Because, now, they'd never forget me again. Last time, my family slunk away humiliated, but I knew they weren't done with me yet. Midnight. The inn was quiet, wrapped in fog and moonlight. Upstairs, the last of the Friday guests had checked in without a hitch. Honeymooners, a solo painter from Charleston, a couple celebrating their anniversary. Normal people. Decent people. Not the kind who tried to rewrite your history with emojis and exclusion. I sat in my office with the lights low, only the blue glow of my laptop reflecting off the window glass. Talia had crashed, hours ago, curled up on the velvet couch in the staff lounge, still in her boots. She'd fought for me harder than family ever had. I stared at the front desk dashboard. Every reservation, every note, and every Sloan still trying to sneak in under aliases. Craig Sloan. Right pointing arrow canceled Lena Sloan. Right pointing arrow canceled Brittany Sloan. Alt B. Carter. Right pointing arrow blocked Haley Sloan, guest of M. Dean. Right pointing arrow flagged Marcy Collins, aka March March. Right pointing arrow system hold. They thought I wouldn't notice? That they could book under cousins' married names or company LLCs? I logged every one. Personally. Each name that once ignored me at the dinner table or left me out of photos now sat in a spreadsheet marked denied. They weren't just uninvited. They were unwelcome. I added one more note at the top of the dashboard: clear, bold, and final. Sloan family. Effective immediately. All future bookings subject to owner override. No exceptions. Warm hospitality is not owed where cruelty was free. My phone buzzed. Talia, half awake, texted from the couch. "Did you see FB? Brittany's posting again." I opened the app. There she was, holding a sad, half-lit candle on the porch of a 2-star roadside inn. Sometimes people you love turn cold for no reason. Grateful for real family who shows up. Folded hands, heartbreak. The comments poured in. "Sending love. Your cousin sounds toxic. Stay strong, queen." I stared at the screen, chest hollow. They still didn't get it. Still painting themselves as victims in a story they wrote in someone else's blood. Talia stumbled in, yawning. "You good?" I nodded, slowly. "Better than I've ever been." "You sure?" "I am, because I'm done proving myself to people who never cared to ask what I built." She grinned. "They ever find out you paid off Grandma's medical bills when Craig couldn't cover it?" "Nope." "Or that you sent money anonymously for Brittany's first semester when her scholarship fell through?" I didn't answer. Some truths aren't for them. Some are just for me. Talia looked over my shoulder at the list. "What's next?" I paused. "We prep for morning." "Think they'll try to come back?" "Wouldn't be the first time they use charm to sneak past a no." "So we greet them," she said, voice steel. "Warmly. Then lock the doors." I closed the laptop. The air outside howled low and cold against the windows. Tomorrow, they might try again. With smiles. With guilt. With flowers, even. But I wasn't the same girl who flinched at their pity. I was the owner of Calloway House. And I had nothing left to prove. Last time, I locked out every Sloan from the system and prepared for whatever stunt they'd pull next. They showed up just after brunch. Saturday, 11:24 a.m. crisp sunlight. Autumn leaves rustling like secrets across the gravel path. I was in the lobby, reviewing vendor contracts, when the glass doors creaked open and in walked the performance. Uncle Craig led, of course, button-down shirt too tight, blazer 2 decades too young. Beside him, Aunt Lena in oversized sunglasses, like this, was the Met Gala. Brittany trailed behind in a wool coat, an exaggerated smile that practically screamed damage control. They didn't flinch when they saw me this time. They smiled. "Jenna," Brittany called out like we were best friends running into each other at Whole Foods. "We were just in the area. Thought we'd drop by, say hi, clear the air." I stood, calm, grounded, backlit by the Calloway House logo. Behind me, Talia appeared like a ghost with perfect timing. "Are you lost?" she asked, already pulling up their guest status. "We're family," Lena said brightly. "Just wanted to apologize for any confusion yesterday." Confusion. That's what they called being petty, cruel, and elitist for years. Craig stepped forward. "Let's not escalate. We're all grown-ups. It's a misunderstanding, that's all." No one had mentioned my name in the reunion invite. No one had defended me in the Facebook group. And now that they had nowhere to sleep, suddenly I was family again. I walked around the desk, slow and measured. "No misunderstanding," I said. "You booked rooms under a shell company. You mocked me in a group chat. You lied about me on Facebook. And then you got caught." Craig's jaw twitched. Brittany blinked hard. Talia stepped forward. "Per standing policy, we reserve the right to deny service to any party at the discretion of ownership." Lena looked around the lobby. Polished oak floors, antique fixtures, rosemary blooming on the sills, and tilted her head. "I mean, you actually own this?" That tone. That surprise. Like it didn't compute. "Yes," I said. "Every square inch." A beat of silence. Then Brittany laughed. Dry, nervous. "Wow, that's actually kind of amazing. Honestly, Jenna, you've always been the quiet one. We never knew you had this in you." I stared at her. "You didn't know because you never asked. You were too busy deciding who was worth listening to." She opened her mouth. I raised my hand. "Let me be clear. You're not welcome here. Not now, not next fall, not ever." Lena's voice went sugary. "Jenna, don't be dramatic. You're making a scene." "I'm containing one." Security stepped forward, as if summoned by my spine straightening. Craig puffed up, waving his arms. You know what this is? It's a power trip. You got lucky. Don't forget who helped you write your first loan letter. I didn't forget, I said. I remember everything. I turned slightly, gesturing to the glass doors. You have 30 seconds. The lobby held its breath. 20. 10. They didn't move, so I did. I stepped forward, quiet, steady, heart thrumming. You came here to embarrass me, I said. Instead, you exposed yourselves. I'm not poor, I'm not desperate, and I'm not your scapegoat anymore. Talia stepped in, her voice velvet and unshakable. This is a private property. We're done here. Craig swore under his breath. Lena pulled her coat tighter. Brittany looked me in the eye, voice cracking. You really don't want to fix this? I smiled. The kind that closes doors forever. There's nothing to fix. They left. No luggage this time. Just pride dragging behind them. Outside, the wind picked up. Leaves skittered across the courtyard like applause. And inside, I breathed. For the first time in a decade, I breathed like I wasn't being measured. Like I wasn't the poor one, the background one, the one they could write out of the family without consequence. They came for a performance. Instead, they got a reckoning. By Sunday morning, the air had changed. Not outside. The leaves still danced over the courtyard, gold and crisp. But inside me, there was no more ache, no more, what if they change? Just stillness. I stood by the front desk, steaming mug in hand, watching guests pass through the lobby. Couples laughing. A woman snapping photos of the chandelier. A toddler dragging a suitcase bigger than her body. My hotel. I had crafted every corner of it to feel like belonging. And that belonging did not include the Sloans. I pulled out my phone and opened the family group chat. Still active, still filled with cousins who hadn't dared reach out since the lobby showdown. No apology from Brittany. No call from Craig. Just silence. Cowardly, petty silence. So I wrote, Jenna Calloway, please remove me from all future Sloan-organized events. Effective immediately. I wish you well, but I choose peace. Jenna. I hit send. Then I tapped leave group. A prompt popped up. Are you sure you want to leave this conversation? I was. So sure. The moment my screen dimmed, it was like someone lifted the last dead weight off my chest. Behind me, Talia walked in, 2 lavender lattes in hand. Did you just nuke the chat? I held up my phone. Nuked, girl, she grinned. It's a new day. It was. The reunion thread went dark by that afternoon. Brittany deleted her vague betrayal posts. Haley archived the Facebook group. Aunt Lena posted a Bible quote about sowing discord, and then blocked half the cousins. I didn't respond to any of it. Instead, I walked the grounds, spoke with guests, finalized our fall to winter transition schedule, and by sunset, Calloway House glowed from the inside out. That night, I lit the fireplace in the main lounge and sat alone in my favorite chair, the one by the window, where I could see the inn's original trellis and the rosemary bushes I'd planted myself. My phone buzzed. It was an email. Subject line, apology, if it's not too late. From Brittany. I hovered over it, but I didn't open it. Not because I didn't care, but because closure doesn't always come from reading someone else's guilt. Sometimes, it's just knowing they had to sit in the same silence they once forced on you. I set the phone down, closed my eyes, and for the first time in years, I wasn't waiting to be seen. I was seen. By me. And that was enough. 2 weeks later, I was barefoot on a wide savanna porch, paint under my fingernails, a fresh breeze brushing over my shoulders. The new space was coming together. White stucco walls, curved arches, a view of live oaks draped in Spanish moss. I'd signed the lease on a second location, Calloway House South, a boutique sister inn tucked just off a historic cobblestone square. It had creaking floors, hand-painted tiles, and a stubborn antique doorknob on the main suite that made guests smile more than complain. It had charm. And it had me. Talia walked out with 2 iced lavender lattes and a grin. New sign just got here. Wanna do the honors? I followed her to the courtyard, where the carved wooden logo leaned against a stack of old bricks. My name, again, in curved gold script, Calloway House Savannah. I ran my fingers over it slowly. God, I still can't believe this is real. Talia nudged me. You believed it before anyone else did. That's the difference. The sun filtered through the trees, casting dappled shadows across the patio tiles. Somewhere down the block, a jazz trio played faintly from a cafe terrace. Laughter echoed from tourists sipping peach bellinis. No group chats. No Brittany. No curated performance of family. Just peace. I sat down on the porch steps and let the moment wash over me. No one clapped. No one tagged me in a congratulatory post, but I didn't need it, because I'd already had my standing ovation. In the silence that followed truth, after the reunion meltdown, no one reached out again. Not really. Aunt Lena sent a blank friend request. Craig posted a filtered throwback of better days, with no caption. Brittany's email remained unopened in my inbox, exactly where it belonged. They'd never say the words I waited years to hear. I was wrong. You didn't deserve that. I'm sorry, but I'd stopped needing them. Some wounds scar, others harden you into someone untouchable. I didn't rise above them, I outgrew them. That's harder, quieter, and permanent. Talia handed me a set of copper keys. First guest arrives next week. You nervous? I shook my head. I feel whole. She gave a slow, knowing nod. That's what happens when you stop proving and start being. A bird sang from a branch overhead. I leaned back against the porch railing and let myself breathe. My mother once told me that the women in our family endure. We bear things. We stay quiet to keep peace. But I built peace with plaster and patience. With keys and stone and a spine that stopped bending. I didn't inherit my worth. I earned it. Every room I designed. Every door I opened. Every night I spent calculating margins while the rest of them drank wine and shared graduation cakes. I was never invited to taste. I was no longer the poor cousin. I was no longer anyone's background character. I was Jenna Calloway, founder, owner, woman of my own making. As the sun dipped lower, painting the porch in amber light, I turned to Talia. Think I should post a photo of this? She raised an eyebrow. You trying to make a point? I thought about it. How easy it would be to let them see me now. The glowing porch. The sign. The life they said I was too plain, too poor, too invisible to deserve. But I shook my head. No, let them wonder. Talia smiled. Queen behavior. We clinked our lattes together. No drama, no spotlight, just the soft final note of a long, beautiful symphony. And peace.